So the Super Rugby season is not too far away. Hopefully we'll get some fans out to the games. I said in an earlier video that I've gone ahead and bought a season pass for the Blues, so every home game I will be there, for better or worse. So hopefully some of you guys who are located in Super Rugby country can do the same and get out to a few games. But I thought we'll have a look, see which team has the biggest fan base. Now, it's kind of hard with the attendance numbers because increasingly Super Rugby teams, I'm not sure, well, I have an idea about the reasoning why, but they haven't been announcing the official attendance at each game. Sometimes you can kind of take a stab at it from the camera shots, but then again that can be a bit deceptive because sometimes people are not necessarily sitting where the camera points most of the time, or vice versa. Sometimes it looks really full, but actually the area where the camera is pretty empty. So there's not really a definitive way to look at it, but what I have done, and it's a measure, it's not the only measure, but I'm looking at their social media followers to give us an indication of just how popular these teams are with their community. I follow most of these teams, to be fair, so most of these numbers are going to include me. But I'm looking at kind of the three bigger social media platforms, so Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, to see just how many followers. And for Facebook, it's likes and followers. I've gone with followers specifically. How many followers do they have? What's their combined total? And yeah, basically which team is the most supported. I was curious to see, like, is it a big city that counts? Is it the country, more population? Is New Zealand going to suffer because we don't have the population? Or is New Zealand going to be ahead because we have, in recent years, fairly successful teams? Let's have a look. So, 15th and in the last place, combined over the three platforms, 121,205 social media followers are the Sunwolves. So, last place on the table. Last place on social media. To be fair, they're one of the younger teams, so they've had less time to accumulate followers. It may be that in Japan there are other social media platforms which are more popular than those traditional three as well, but those are the ones I've gone for. So Facebook, the most popular one, with Instagram and Twitter kind of evenly spread. In 14th, it's the Melbourne Rebels. Again, a team that's not that old, and not had that much success to build on. So 148,126 social media followers across all three platforms. It is interesting to see, as you'll see some of the numbers as they come up, like which platform is more successful. That it has a lot of reasons, perhaps. I was initially going to look at YouTube, but not every team has a YouTube channel. Not every team is active on their YouTube channel. But yeah, some of them do better on different platforms, which may affect the followers. Different places have different platforms which are more popular, so it is a bit of a mixed bag. But anyway, 13th, man, this helicopter's twice over now. 13th is the Lions, which is a little bit surprising. 207,000 followers across all three platforms. Again, Facebook being the most popular one for them. With the recent success, thought might have been a bit higher, but yeah, I mean, there's no doubt reasons for it. They do have a YouTube channel. Content is pretty inconsistently uploaded, but when it is uploaded, it's pretty good. In 12th is the Brumbies, 226,268. Obviously, Canberra is a smaller city than places like Melbourne. Even though they've got more followers than the Rebels, smaller than Brisbane, smaller than Sydney, kind of a factor, I suppose. Very big Facebook presence, so 266,268. They've got a YouTube channel which gets like no views. Like their videos get like 20, 100 views, and they actually do proper content, like following the players and getting them talking about their, like, some of the off the field stuff, like which they do, their life in Canberra and where they like to go for coffee and all this kind of stuff. It's kind of inside knowledge, but nobody cares. People just don't know about it. 11th is the Jaguares, again one of the younger teams, 280,022 social media followers. Interestingly, for them, it's Instagram, which is the big winner. Facebook, the lowest user count. That might be an Argentinian thing as well. You guys can let me know if you've got inside knowledge on that. In 10th, and a little bit surprising because I did, before having a look at this list, I kind of had my own expectations. I thought the most popular team would be the Waratahs, but they are in 10th. Sydney is the biggest city, but 997,000 followers. Obviously, these numbers are going to change by the time the video gets to you, but when I noted these numbers down in January, they were correct. So, yeah, 289,997. Again, Facebook's the number one for them. They are behind the Reds, who are in 9th. So that's all 4 Aussie teams. Yeah, 9th is the highest one for them. It kind of shows, I suppose, rugby's place in the pecking order in Australia. 314,444 social media followers for the Reds. Yeah, slightly surprising for me that Brisbane was above Sydney, but any of you guys in Australia who might hazard a guess at the reason why, do let me know. 8th, we got our first New Zealand team. It's the Highlanders, 340,464. Dunedin, I think by population, would probably be the smallest of the 5 New Zealand centres. So I suppose that makes a bit of sense just from my knowledge. 7th is the Bulls. So the next South African team, bit of a gap between them and the Lions. 475,000 social media followers for the Bulls. Historical success. Man, my daughter is going for gold in the other room crying. I'm not sure if that's going to pick up on the microphone. But yeah, the Bulls pretty significantly above the Lions. I haven't actually looked up the population differences between Pretoria and Joburg, but yep, the Bulls take that one. If the Lions have got the on-field success, the Bulls, despite kind of financial issues that I've been reading about as well over the last 12 months, certainly got the social media followers. And they do a bit of good social media stuff as well. Like they have a doctor. Their team doctor does a report on YouTube every week about like the status of the players, how long they're going to be out, how their injury recovery is going. So kind of kudos to them for putting in that bit of extra work. 6th place are the Blues. I thought in Auckland being the biggest city, that might give a bit of a boost, but I suppose performance levels are a factor as well. The Blues are 6th, so 383,831 social media followers. Pretty big on Facebook again. It seems to be the thing. Some people will say Facebook's for old people, and that's why. Could well be. I do have a Facebook page, by the way, in case you guys aren't following it. I tend to put a bit of me drinking beer stuff on there, so with the odd comment. If you're not following me there, check it out. Likewise on Twitter. 5th is the Hurricanes, one spot above the Blues. So there's a massive jump here, though, in the amount of followers they have. There's a real gulf between the top 5 and the rest. The Hurricanes are at 506,214 subscribers or followers. So nobody's in the 400,000. It's straight from the high 3s up into the 5s. So Hurricanes with a massive load of followers. Likewise, the Chiefs just above them. In 4th, 613,000, and then it's the Crusaders in 3rd. So it's going to be a South African team at top because the Crusaders are at 610,236. Success breeds social media followers and a growing fan base, I guess. I know outside of New Zealand, which a lot of these fans will be, outside of New Zealand, there are a fair few fans of the Crusaders. I mean, I kind of guess it's like the Manchester United effect when I was growing up. Manchester United were the top team for most years, and a lot of people associated with them here in New Zealand. Not me, but I guess that's like a lot of fans abroad tend to adopt the Crusaders because they win a lot, and it's a good team to follow because they're going to have success. Personally, I go with an underdog. Blues, maybe. Popular choice, not so much. So it's between the Stormers and the Sharks for that top spot, and my clothing may give it away. It's the Stormers in 2nd, 635,164 social media followers. The Sharks, man, well on top, 734,642. The guys who've never managed to quite get over the line to win Super Rugby. have a ton of social media followers. Their Facebook page alone, 270 is more than the totals of the top 6 teams. That's a phenomenal effort from the guys in Durban. Please explain, South Africans, what's up with the Sharks being so popular? I thought it was like the Stormers traditionally on attendance get better results than the Sharks, but yeah, that's incredible. Just overall, the Canes are the number one guys for Instagram, the Sharks for Facebook, and the Stormers for Twitter. So that's a little bit of an interesting side note as well. I guess it depends on how well these teams, how much effort they put in. Now, just before I go, I am going to put it into a little bit of context with some other sports in these places, because rugby is not always the number one game. But let's include a few teams that we'll be familiar with. So the Southern Kings, if they were on here, they would be dead last with followers. They have 38,228. So like, Facebook's 20,000, Instagram's almost 6,000, and Twitter's just over 11,000. So well down on everybody else. The Western Force, if they were still around in Super Rugby, would be just above the Sunwolves on 144, 149. The Cheetahs would be just above the Rebels, but below the Lions, 159, 311 in terms of their social media followers. So these are all still rugby teams, but no longer in Super Rugby. And then we have to start looking at some other sports. So in Australia, the number one sport, or at least, it depends which state you're in, but in Victoria, it's the AFL, so the Aussie Rules. And there's a lot of teams. Like Melbourne only has one rugby team, but they have got a lot of AFL teams. I don't know how many. A lot. Like I've got family over there, and between them they support at least 3 different teams. So Collingwood, I picked them because nobody likes Collingwood except for Collingwood fans. Their total amount of followers is 651,177. So blitzing all of the rugby teams, I guess kind of not surprising. But man, there's like so many teams, and a lot of these AFL teams have a lot of social media followers. So that sport is just very, very popular over there. In New Zealand, but that's still below the Sharks. So the Sharks in Super Rugby still top Collingwood, but New Zealand's only NRL rugby league team has more followers than the Sharks do in Super Rugby. So they have 744,779, which is, rugby is the number one sport in New Zealand, but that one team blitzes all the other Super Rugby teams. But I guess a factor is that as New Zealand only has one professional rugby league team, whereas we have 5 Super Rugby teams, so all those fans are kind of split between the teams. If you added up all the New Zealand Super Rugby teams, that'd be a lot more than the Warriors. A lot of rugby fans will be fans of the Warriors as well, because you can support 2 sports. But so pretty popular. Across the ditch over in Australia, another rugby league team, the Brisbane Broncos. You compare them to the Reds. The Broncos are almost at 1,943,394 social media followers. So again, AFL in Victoria, rugby league perhaps in Queensland and New South Wales. Yeah, man, it's definitely ruling the roost. Rugby union is a fair step off the pace. But then we have to talk about football or soccer. I didn't realize it'd be quite this shocking, but the Kaiser Chiefs, who are one of the South African kind of club teams that I'm aware of, social media followers 4,600,000 plus. That's just incredible, crazy. That's a lot of people following the soccer, and South Africa's a lot better at rugby than they are soccer. But hey, there you go. And for Argentina, Boca Juniors, 15 million social media followers. So you don't mess with football, soccer. Yep, it's a very popular sport. But still, rugby's coming along. It's good to see some of these teams do have the support online anyway. Hopefully some of this can translate to bums on seats at the stadiums. But you guys let me know your thoughts on this list. Which teams surprise you? Which ones are pretty much expected? And is there any reason that you think these teams are particularly, like, why are the Lions so low? Why are the Sharks so high? Why are the Reds the most popular South African team? I think the New Zealand one is, for the most part, fairly self-explanatory. That could be because I'm from New Zealand that I'm kind of aware a bit, like Dunedin's got less population. The Crusaders are very successful. I don't know. I should say also that I was thinking about doing this for YouTube channels alone, like I said earlier, but yeah, not all the teams have YouTube. But the guy who does ice hockey videos that kind of inspired me to make this channel, the hockey guy, he did this style video, and I thought that was a great idea. So just a note that I'll link to his video in the description. His idea, man, he did it first. I am just copying him. But yeah, I wanted a way to look at the fan bases, and I thought his idea was a great one. So I'm just going with that. As I said, YouTube wasn't quite going to work because, yeah, not all the teams really put that much effort in there. But yeah, like I said, you guys let me know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.